Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Before I get started, I want to apologize for what you're about to hear. I will butcher every single German word that I come across. I'll try my best. It's not on purpose. I will try my best to pronounce these words correctly, but I just want to apologize ahead of time because I know that the chances are slim. 99.9% chance I will butcher every single word. So I just want to apologize ahead of time, and I want you guys to embrace my dyslexia and my inability to pronounce foreign words, specifically German words. So bear with me throughout this review. And with that in mind, we're here today to talk about Die Kreatur with the album Panoptikum, out May 22nd on Napalm Records. The album has 15 tracks, 68 minutes in length, and this is the debut record from the duo Chris Harms from Lord of the Lost and Diro Boy from Oomph. The moment I heard about this project or about this band, I hate to call it a project because I really feel like this is going to be a group that's going to continue, this partnership is going to continue to deliver for years to come, because this album just had so much energy in it. I just really feel like they had such a great time putting this together. It comes across in the music, so I doubt that this is going to be a one-time thing. I really feel like this is going to be something that they will continue to do. But as I went into this record, I was really excited because these are two great vocalists from two great bands. So sky was the limit as far as I was concerned, as far as creativity goes. And I was really wondering where they were going to go as far as the direction of the sound, how they were going to interconnect both styles of vocals onto the tracks. I just had a lot of questions, and the only way to answer them was to listen to this record. The first thing that I noticed with listening to the album was how eclectic the sound template of the record is. This is an album that doesn't offer two songs alike from a structural perspective, but also from a sound perspective. It's very unique from track to track. It just changes all over the place. It's really a roller coaster ride. There's so many influences at play. This is a record that pulls from electronic, pop rock, goth rock, industrial. There's just so many influences coming into the sound that allow them to just be super creative, not putting boundaries, not putting a genre, defining a genre to what their sound or to what this record was supposed to be, and just let the creativity flow and let's go wherever the track takes us. That's the feeling that I get from this album, and it's an album that just keeps on expanding on that with every single song. You really feel like they could not do something more different, and then the next track comes and you're like, wow, I was not expecting that. That was different. And then the track after that, well, that was also very different from the previous track. It's just an album that keeps evolving, it keeps growing as it moves along, but one thing that it has all the way through is a lot of energy and intensity. And I think it really comes across, I said this before, it really comes across through this record how much fun, how much energy these guys had, but how much fun they had creating this record. I think it's really obvious the moment you listen to it that these guys really enjoy the time together in putting this record together. It comes across on every single track. One of the elements of this album that I really appreciated was the guitars and synthesizer and keyboards, how the keyboards and guitars work together throughout the record. This is not an album that is heavy by no means. There are some heavier tracks, which is to be expected, but overall it's not really a heavy record. It fluctuates the same way the songs are very dynamic and very fluid. The heaviness is as well kind of dissipates and comes back again. It has that same fluidity, it has that same those same dynamics throughout the whole record. But the work of the guitars and keyboards together to me was very important throughout the album. They really knew when to add a lot more melody with the keyboards, with the synthesizers, when the songs needed a little bit more bite, a little bit more heaviness with the guitars coming in, providing that heaviness, but then alternating those sounds, alternating those elements throughout the tracks and throughout the record really allowed the album to be as dynamic, or to be even more dynamic than what you would expect from this record. So the partnership, if you will, from guitars and keyboards to me really play a predominant role on the overall sound and feel that this album has from the first track to the last track. Then after that, you have to look at the two main elements that really holds this whole album together. Because like I said, up until now, the album is very volatile, is very dynamic, no two songs alike. So you're going to get a very eclectic approach of 15 tracks that feel very individual. So you need something that brings those 15 individual tracks back together in order for the album to feel more cohesive. And this is a very difficult task to do. For an album that has this kind of sound, this kind of approach, is very difficult to keep it cohesive. So in my opinion, there are two elements that really allow the album to feel at least a little bit more connected, and that is the atmosphere and vocals. On the atmosphere side of things, this is where the guitars and the overall combination of sound between guitars and keyboards comes in, because the atmosphere that they create on the tracks is really one that's pretty much the same through every single song. This is an album that has a very dark, sinister feel to it, and that is present on every single song, regardless if the song is a little bit heavier or if it's a little bit more melodic, a little bit more stripped down. It doesn't really matter what musical approach they took on the track. Every song has that dark embrace, that sinister embrace, that atmosphere that covers the whole song and then overall the whole album. So that to me was definitely a unifying aspect that this record has. As far as the vocals are concerned, like I said before, you're talking about two amazing vocalists. So when you put these two guys together, you have all the condiments to create a record that vocally is absolutely out of this world. Like, it just has all the perfect condiments. I felt that they really were able to create a record that unified both voices, but more important, they really knew how to get the most out of each one, out of their styles, out of their tones, creating songs that perhaps gear more towards one, some songs gear more towards the other, but still allowing both to intertwine and to interconnect on every single song to really get the most out of the song vocally, but also to really enhance that overall atmosphere that I was talking about. The way the vocals come across is another atmospheric element. They really add a little bit of more of a dark, somber vibe to some of the songs, so they played a very important role as far as the atmosphere is concerned. But the connection between the two vocalists is really one of the bright lights. It's really the lighthouse through the fog and darkness that the atmosphere of this album has. And some songs are super jovial, almost like dance hits, like popish in a way, but still have that dark feeling to it. You can never escape that sinister darkness that this record holds. And a lot of it, like I said, comes from the atmosphere, but also how the two vocalists interact with each other. I really thought they were phenomenal on this album. The vocals were absolutely one of the bright spots of this record. Overall, I think this is an album that's going to resonate with fans from both bands. Lord of the Lost, Ohm, fans from those two camps will really gravitate towards this record. But I really feel like these guys coming together, creating this album, it's really going to open the doors to other fans that perhaps are not necessarily fans of those bands, but they'll like the interaction that these two had on this record, the energy that they put forward, the brilliant aspect of how they created songs that are so dynamic, so fluid, and the overall feel and atmosphere that you get from the album. This to me was an album that did not surprise me as far as the quality of the music that it has within its walls, and as far as the vocal performance is concerned, they really surpassed my expectations, because I'd never felt at any point in time that they were struggling for position, that they were struggling for time. I always felt like the dynamic between the two of them made me feel like they've been singing together for 10, 20, 30 years. Absolutely incredible, the chemistry that the two had together. It's really palpable on this record. As far as songs are concerned, I want to start off with Unzertrennlich, and this song has a very synth feel to it. It's really synth-driven song that alternates sometimes. The alternation of the vocals is really what drives the song. The verses have a different feel, if you will. They're more blend, and then the bigger sound, the more melodic chorus really blows up the song, really energizes the track. The vocal layers in the chorus work really well. I really like that aspect. They were able to give more volume to the vocals without making them sound heavier, without having to go with a different tone or with a different approach. So I really like the layers of the vocals in the chorus with the melody that's behind them. Really creates this bigger sound, this bigger volume. And it even adds a little bit of a somber atmosphere, if you will, because it just feels differently. It feels slightly darker, but not heavier. The song has definitely these two worlds. The verses and the chorus is definitely a song that's breaking in between those two, creating this up and down feel, this roller coaster ride throughout the track. But it gives such a dynamic feel to the song. It makes the song so fluid. And then when you have a chorus that is this hooky, that is this catchy, really becoming a earworm, full of melody, full of elements, different layers, keyboards, guitars, vocals, two vocalists, layers upon layers upon layers, really becoming an incredibly catchy and hooky track all around. But the chorus is really what allows the song to be what it is, to be as dynamic as it is. Next, Untergang, heavier track, more guitar bite. I really felt that this was a more, while the previous song was a more synth-driven song, I really felt that this was more of a guitar-driven track. The synths provide a little bit of a somber melody in the background of the song, but they're not necessarily in the forefront. They're not the main driving force. I really feel like the guitars are really pushing this song forward, and at times the drums coming in, really creating a lot of heaviness on the track and really pushing the track forward. The vocals in the verses have more of a linear approach, more straightforward, not too many bends to it, that there's not too many layers to it. It's just a really straightforward approach. The chorus, you see the vocals gain a lot more heaviness, a lot more texture. They become a lot bigger. They have a bigger presence, if you will. Musically, the song also explodes in the chorus. All the elements come together in the chorus, really creating this explosion of life. Really alternating the element of the more linear approach of the verses with a more bombastic approach of the chorus, which allows the song to have that same roller coaster ride. It allows the song to have this dynamic fluidity that takes you from the beginning of the track all the way to the end of the track. Last but not least, Gott Verdammt. In the verses, you have great bass. I really love the sound of the bass. Perhaps one of the tracks where you can really hear the bass really well coming through is in this song, and you get that in the verses. You have the guitars as well in the verses, but the bass really has a predominant role. It adds a little bit of darkness, and it creates this underneath the water, like under the hood, if you will, darkness to the way the song sounds, specifically in the verses. The guitars have great heaviness to their sound. They have a little bit more bite to it, and they come in and out of the track. They have this sense of a wave coming in and out of the track, which works really well because the bass does the same thing. The bass has a predominant role, but it's not in the forefront all the time. So when the guitars drop out, you could hear more of the bass. When the guitars come in, they hide it a little bit. I like that dynamic between those two instruments. It really creates a very somber way of having the verses of this song musically constructed. The chorus is the heartbeat of the track, which is the case with every single song on this album. They really pack a lot of energy into the chorus to make them a lot hookier, a lot catchier, creating this ball of energy that just explodes on every single track, or almost every single track. There's some tracks where the chorus is a little bit more mellow, almost matching the style of the verses, but in this song, the chorus is really the heartbeat of the track. The vocals coming in together, and in this song, they really come in together in the chorus. You really don't feel a separation between the two. They're really coming in as one, and that creates this really nice melody, but it creates this big volume, this big wall of sound that really progresses through. The melody on the chorus is enhanced by the synthesizer. It really creates a bigger sound. It gives it even more melody, because when you have the two vocals coming together, it has melody in it, but it also has a lot of heaviness for the fact that there's more sound into it. So adding the keyboards into it allow the song in the chorus to still be very hooky, very catchy, but it needed some melody there. It needed something to dissipate the fact that you have two vocals coming together. Otherwise, it would be too much of one thing. It wouldn't be as leveled. It wouldn't be as hooky as it is if you didn't have that synthesizer coming in and adding some brightness to a little bit of darkness that had around it. I really like that aspect of the song, and I really like how they came together in the chorus to create a merger of sound, of heavy sound with more melodic sound in order to make the chorus even hookier and catchier. After the second chorus, you get this humming, this vocal humming with the main vocals in the distance. The combination of those two elements creates a great bridge for the track, because this is, in my opinion, is a song that once you come off the chorus, the vocals are so predominant. The fact that the two vocalists are together in the chorus allows the song to have this really predominant moment within the track. So coming off the chorus, this is after the second chorus, you need something to bridge the song through, to connect the song through. And coming off of that with the beautiful humming and the vocals in the distance feel like they're hidden within the track, to me was the perfect solution. It really stripped down what was so convoluted in the chorus. It got stripped down, it got taken away, the layers got stripped away, and you start to see that chorus breaking apart through this vocal bridge that's absolutely beautiful on the song. It really expands the track. It gives the song a lot of melody, this time not from the synthesizer but just from the voices themselves, and to me that was such a difference, and that was such a turning point on this song. Then it goes back to its original routine of verses and chorus as the song closes off. I really like this track. I really like the momentums that the track have, but to me, after the chorus is definitely the heartbeat of the song, but after that second chorus, that melodic vocal bridge there, I wish was even a little bit longer. It had such a great melody. It had such a dark and somber feel at the same time. Really connected the track well, really extended the melody of the track, and really stripped away all the layers that the vocals had in the chorus. Alright guys, this is it. This is Die Kreatur, Panoptikum, once again out May 22nd on Napalm Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on my pronunciation of the German words. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.